Okay guys, so today we're going to talk about conjugations of regular verbs in Spanish. Okay, so let's talk about some general information about regular verbs. Okay, in Spanish, guys, infinitives end in AR, ER, and IR. Okay, and we've seen that with some of the verbs that we've learned. Now, we categorize verbs in Spanish according to the ending they have. So we say that there's three types of verbs. There's AR verbs, like the verb hablar. There's ER verbs, like the verb comer. And then there's IR verbs, like the verb vivir. Now, each type of verb has their own endings when you conjugate them. But Spanish regular verbs follow the same patterns when you conjugate them. So basically, all AR regular verbs are going to follow this same pattern when we conjugate them in the simple present. The same thing for ER verbs and the same thing for IR verbs. So, to conjugate a verb, what do? We follow two steps. Step 1 would be to drop the ending. And then step 2 would be to add the correct ending according to the pronoun that you want to use. So let's look at this. Okay, so let's take the verb hablar. The first step is to drop the ending. So you have the verb hablar, you drop AR, so then you're left with hablo, H-A-B-L. Now this is called the stem of a verb. The stem does not change when you conjugate the verb. The only thing that's going to change is the ending that you add. So step 2, it says that add the correct ending according to the pronoun. Now we haven't looked at the endings yet, but I'm going to go ahead and conjugate this verb. So we have the verb hablar. For yo, when we add that ending, would be hablo, tú hablas, él, ella y usted habla, nosotros y nosotras hablamos, vosotros y vosotras habláis, ellos, ellas y ustedes hablan. So if you notice, the stem of the verb stays the same in every single conjugation. The only thing that changes is that ending. Okay, so now we're going to look at the endings for each type of verb. So let's start with verbs that end in AR. Okay, for yo, the ending would be o. For tú, the ending is as. Él, ella y usted, a. Nosotros y nosotras, amos. Vosotros y vosotras, ais. Ellos, ellas y ustedes, han. So all regular AR verbs in the simple present are going to be using these endings, okay? So now let's look at ER verbs. ER verbs, very similar to AR verbs, but if you notice, the only difference that we have is that E changes to A. So we have O, es, e, hemos, eis, en, okay? And then last, we have IR verbs. IR verbs are very similar to ER verbs. There's just a couple differences. We have yo, also ends in O, tú, es, él, ella, and usted, e. Nosotras and nosotros changes from ER, and it's imos. Then we have vosotros and vosotras, which changes to is, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes, en. So this is how we conjugate regular verbs in the simple present. Now go ahead and practice some.